Hello and welcome back to a new video. We got a new deck list video today, so there's going to be no openings, but this is a recent deck list for the Prismatic evolution and Surging Sparks kind of era that we're kind of in. This deck doesn't really change much with the new release of Prismatic Evolution. There might be like a card or two I might have missed, but other than that, we're just going to get rolling with the Gardevoir EX deck. I don't think I've ever shown this deck off on my channel before, but it is a deck I'm starting to learn for myself. So this list is just kind of what I like. I've play tested it a few times, and this is my build. I've kind of used a bit of ideas from other deck lists on Limitless TCG, but other than that, this is what my kind of take would be. So this list is going to change a lot. So I end up having to do like an update or something, but I'll explain as I go in the video. My last my last deck list video did quite well. I think it sat on about 180 views, which is really good. It's been slowly creeping up, so I think this is what kind of more content I need to put out. But starting off with, we have two Gardevoir EXs with that Psychic Embrace ability. As often as I want, you can put a basic Psychic Energy from your discard onto one of your Psychic Pokemon and put 2 damage counters in that way until it is going to be knocked out. So you can't do it if it's on 20 HP and you put one to knock it out, you can't do that. But I'm basically just going to be exploiting that ability to power up Pokemon that need damage on them to do more damage, or to just have some quick energy attachments, because other than that, there's not really a deck that can put up with that much energy in that much turn. But it is a very slow deck. You have to think about a lot with your turns. But as our draw engine, we run the Refinement Curlias, which allow us to discard a card from our hand, which we want to be the Psychic Energy, putting it into our discard and drawing 2 cards, so later on we can use that Psychic Embrace ability. Moving on to the rolls, I do have the wrong type of roll, so I do apologize, I only have the one. But you're supposed to be running 4 of these teleportation burst ones, but I have the ones from Scarlet Violet and Pallium Phase. But they both work pretty much okay. There's not too much of a difference, but 4 rolls, 4 Courier, 2 Gardevoir. Moving on to our support Pokemon, we have 2 Monkey Dory with that ability Adrenabrain. If it has any dark energy attached to it, you can put 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to your opponents. So it lets you put a bit of chip damage into your other opponent's Pokemon, and that can help with some like big damage outputs on your other Pokemon. So like you could, if you had that Teal Pokemon with 210, you can put 30 damage counters from your Gardevoir to that, to put it on 190, and then use Miracle Force. I almost said Mirage Gate. Miracle Force to do 190 to then knock out that Pokemon. It's a very strategic kind of deck, and I am still learning it. But we have 2 Drifloon with that Balloon Blast attack. It does 30 damage for each damage counter on the Pokemon. Really good, really strong attacker. And this deck's kind of pro is pretty much all 1 prize attackers. So that means that your opponent will be put on a slower prize race than you, because you'll be taking 2 prizes most of the time and they're only taking 1 most of the time. So that's kind of the slow part of the deck, but it does take a while to set up sometimes, and this deck does have an occasional thing to brick. But we run 1 Klefki to slow our opponent down. It has that ability Mischievous Lock. As long as in the active spot, basic Pokemon play have no abilities. Teal Pokemon, for example, have no ability. Rotom, no ability. Lumineon, no ability. It's just really good for slowing down your opponent and Iron Thorns. A card I'm tempted to cut, but I'm still going to keep in, is this Flushamane with the Midnight Flushrain. It's basically the same as the Klefki, but it only works on the active Pokemon on your opponent. And it can be for any type of Pokemon. So it can be for evolution. So it could stop a quick search from a Pidgeot or a Charizard's Infernal Rain. But I am tempted to cut that card, so I might cut that card in my next kind of updated video. We have 1 Screamtail with that Roaring Scream. It does 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each damage counter on it. You kind of get the idea. We put Psychic Energy in the discard, we Psychic Embrace, put damage counters on these Pokemon, and then do big damage output. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple on paper, but I think actually getting it set up and certain matchups can be a bit of a pain. But to protect our bench, we do run a 1 Manaphy with that Wave Vial. I think pretty much all the deck lists I've had on my videos run a 1 Manaphy. I just love that card so much. Moving on to supporters, 4 Arvin for that consistency of searching out an item card and a tool. I will go over the tools and the items that you kind of want to search out on your first couple turns. But we run 1 boss's orders. For disruption, since this is quite slow, you'll need to disrupt your opponent a lot. So we run 4 Iono. So being able to just get rid of an opponent's good hand, put it to the bottom, and hopefully they will not draw cards that are very fortunate in the situation that they are in. We run 1 Professor Toro, put energy in discard and heal your Pokemon. It's pretty good when Gardevoir can get stuck in the active, because it's quite an annoying Pokemon to have in the active spot if it's not what you want there. To search off Arven most of the time, this deck kind of wants to go second, because you can use another card in this deck which I'm going to show off, but you can get Buddy Poffin from Arven to search out those Rolts and those Driftlooms if needed. For our ace spec of the deck, I've chosen to run the Unfair Stamp. Since this is a slower deck, your opponent's likely going to take 1 prize card before you're going to set up. So I think having Unfair Stamp, and even as an item card, you can search off Arven, means that you are putting your opponent down to 2 cards, which can be awful in some situations. Like, 2 cards is not a lot, and it could be the 2 worst cards in your deck. You could draw like a Turo and a Manaphy. Does that help your void state? Not really. I mean, yes, it can stop other attackers for the Manaphy, but you just are relying on what your top deck is, basically, there. So we have a Hisuian Heavy Ball. Because we run quite a lot of basics, we need to run a Heavy Ball so that we can search out those one-offs that might get prized every now and then. We have 2 Counter Catchers, because, as I said, you are likely to be down a prize card, so having Counter Catcher means you can fish it off of Arven, and you can get those quick knockouts on Pokemon that your opponent's trying to set up as quickly as they can. 2 Ultra Ball for more search for Gardevoir and just discard energy. We run 3 Earthen Vessels to dig our energy out of our deck and to be able to put in the discard, and being able to get it off Arven is pretty neat as well. Arven is just such a good card in this deck, it's so cool. But we have a Night Stretcher. 1, I do recommend you 1 2, so maybe that's what I'll switch the Flutter Mane out for. I'll switch it out for another Night Stretcher. But that would probably be a good shout, but having a Night Stretcher would be great to just get back some Pokemon that you might have put in the discard. Along with that, we run 1 Super Rod to put 3 Pokemon back into the deck or energy. We run 1 TM Devolution. Because of the Adrenabrain on the Monkey Dory, you are able to set up some decent plays where you're able to move damage counters onto onto Pokemon, like Pidgeot, for example, and then you're able to use TM Devo to de-evolve the Pidgeot into the Pidgey, and then take a knockout because it only has about 50 HP. So it's those kind of smart tactic plays that can kind of definitely win games. From what I said earlier about Arven, you want to search off TM Evolution if you're going second, because that means you're able to fish out Buddy Poffin, and you're able to get your Rolts, and as long as you have an energy in hand, you can get your Rolts straight into Curlia, like on your turn 1, which is so fast. Like, some decks just cannot keep up with that. And I was playing it on Thursday, and I've had it where I play TM Evo and my opponent would just scoop straight away because their hand must have not been good, and I was able to just get that quick advantage over them. We run 2 Bravery Charm to put on our Driftlooms and our Screamtail, because it allows us to put more damage counters on them so that they end up doing more damage. I think I'm going to end up with just enough of room. But for stadiums, we run 2 Artisan. It allows us to fish out these Pokemon because majority of them do not have a Roblox, apart from that one and that one, because it's a basic. But for the energies now, we run, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Psychic Energy. 7 Psychic Energy there. And for the Monkey Dories, we run 3 Dark Energy. Allows us to activate that ability. Here's the deck list. Feel free to screenshot if you want. You are more than welcome to it. And you're more than welcome to criticize it in the comments below. I do like it when I get comments on the videos, and some people might criticize some of the deck lists, and that's okay. People are entitled to their own opinion. But this is my list for now. As I said, I might change it up a little bit, but I'll keep you guys posted on that. And my shorts have been doing really well recently. We've shown off some of the cards I've been picking up, and I'm very thankful for that. And even the last couple of videos, my most recent one's been doing quite well. It's got about 80 views. That's pretty nice. And I just want to say thank you for watching the videos. And be sure to subscribe, because currently at recording this, we're about 1 subscriber away from 1,300, which is pretty cool. But Thank you guys for watching and have a great rest of your day.